What up, y'all? I'm back with another video for y'all today. I know when I looked at the comments on the last video, y'all wanted me to do a video on what kind of things am I invested in and where are my investments, how do I invest, what do I look for. So as of right now, I'm just going to jump straight into it. So as of right now, a lot of my money's tied up in stocks, mutual funds, um, index funds, and general stocks. Uh, all of my assets are basically the way I use my broker. I just use Fidelity, invest through there. So I take some of my paycheck or a decent amount of my paycheck and put it towards that. And then number two, I have crypto. So I use a wallet called Kraken, I think, or Kraken, something like that. So that's where all my crypto wallets are, or that's who I use as a wallet for crypto. And then I also have some stuff in Robinhood as well. Honestly, I could have it all in one account, but at the time I just had it split up just because it was just easier for me to move money around. So like, let's say if I had XRP in one wallet and then I had Bitcoin in another wallet, some exchanges, they require a delay process. So like there's a buffer time before you can get your money. So there was a scenario where if I were to go with one of the exchanges, I was able to get my money sooner than the other one. So that's why I ended up doing that. But I'm just invested in a lot of the majority or mainstream cryptocurrencies like Ethereum, Bitcoin, XRP, Solana, what else? Some of most of the mainstream ones that y'all are aware of. So don't get too caught up in that. Honestly, I just use that money I just use crypto as almost like a savings account. So basically, if I ever need to pull from it, I'll just pull from it, and then once I get paid again, I'll just reinvest that money back into whatever I initially withdrew. And then on top of that, I have just a regular general savings account that I set aside for real estate only, so I never touch that account. I don't even have a debit card for that account. So basically what I do is I take a portion of my paycheck and put it in that account so that I can't touch that money at all. Only way I can touch that money is if I physically go to the bank and pull the money out, which I never even do unless I'm investing in real estate or there's a deal that needs to be done and I just need to liquidate really quick. It's the only time I ever use that account. And then some of the institutions that I use financially, I use US Bank, which is my main one. My credit union that I use is Navy Federal, and then I have a local federal or credit union called Guardian Credit Union. Honestly, if I were you guys, I would not recommend Guardian Credit Union. Like, their shit's kind of a headache to deal with. Do not do it. Only reason why I did it was because they had solid interest rates on auto loans. So yeah, I can only access that bank within Wisconsin, so I can't. There are no branches outside of Wisconsin. It's literally a super small bank, so that's another reason why I did it, because I know that over time, if they see me making distributions and contributions to those accounts, they're seeing that I'm a loyal customer, X, Y, and Z, so that when I do need a loan, I have shoppable rates with Navy Federal and Guardian, so I can kind of just compare the two. What else? Yeah, that's basically it. I would say when it comes to just miscellaneous spending, honestly, with me making the kind of money I do, I don't really keep track of how much gas money I'm spending. Food, I kind of monitor like self-awareness. Like if I know I'm eating out 3-4 days out the week, I kind of monitor what I'm eating and stuff like that. So I have like a budget of like $15 or whatever a day or whatever the case may be, just so that I'm conscious of it. It's not really something I keep track of. Should I? I mean, maybe, but at the end of the day, it really doesn't affect me when it comes to the amount of food I eat or where I eat at. So I really don't care about that. So food, gas, and honestly insurance, because a lot of that shit's just on auto pay, so I don't really think twice about it. The only thing that I really keep track of is like the main heavy hitters. So when I'm making payments on my credit card, or if I'm paying my car note, or if I'm doing X, Y, and Z, because a lot of my shit is super basic. Like all I'm really spending money on and shit is on auto pay is my gym membership, car payments, credit cards. I have to pay a monthly subscription on my iCloud service, Apple Music, and ChatGPT. That's literally it. I literally just named everything off the top of my head just because I already know where the money is going. So like I don't really have to monitor as much. For those of you guys that are not conscious of where your money is going to, I do recommend you guys kind of tighten up and figure out a way for you to understand where your money is going. Because a lot of the time you'll be like, I didn't think I spent that much money, but when you look at your financial statements or your bank statements or your credit card statements, you'll see a lot of that money goes out with you not even knowing it, because you're just so used to blowing money when you get it. That's another thing too. When you get money, don't be so quick to spend that shit. Now, don't get me wrong. If you want to buy like a piece of clothing, you buy some clothes here and there every so often, cool. But if you're doing that on a regular basis, you need to stop that bullshit, because at the end of the day, you're gonna look back at the end of the month and be like, damn, what I spend my money on? You spent $200 on those Jordans. You spent $300 going shopping at X store. Then you went ahead and spent another $100 on another pair of shoes. So like that's $500 right there, where you could invested at least half of that shit into like stocks, crypto, or whatever the case may be, or even in a IRA or retirement account. So I say this to say, like, as long as you understand where your money is going and how you make it, that's really all that matters. If you know the amount of money you're spending is an adequate amount to the point where it's not hurting you too much, cool. But if you overspending and you late on your payments, you doing X, Y, and Z, then you bullshit. You need to really take an audit of what you're spending on, so that you can make sure that not only do you have longevity, you can invest in your future, but also too, you know what money you're spending on and how you're spending it. And if you're spending it loosely, then you need to tighten up a little bit and make sure that, all right, well, if I'm going to spend this amount of money, X on clothes, then I need to make sure I have X amount invested. That's just a better way to look at it. Don't take my financial advice, but it's just a recommendation that I've been able to implement in my life. No, by any means am I a financial advisor or anything like that, but I started to notice, like, I don't want to have my money, I don't want to give my money to somebody else and have them monitor it for me if they're only making $150,000 a year if I'm a millionaire. That just doesn't make sense. So I took matters in my own hands, and I'm in control of the money. I know where the money's going. The only person I have really helping me out with my finances is my accountant, just because I'm in real estate. So obviously I have to have that shit for the end of the year. But honestly, outside of that, I really don't have any other people monitoring my finances outside of that, just because I want to know what I'm doing with my money, because it's my money that I earned. I don't want nobody else telling me what I should do with my money. Oh, I should do this, I should do that, I should do this, I should do that. Because at the end of the day, they're getting paid regardless, because they're helping you. They're a service to you. So no matter how much money you make, they're still getting 5% of that regardless. Even if they tell you some bullshit, or if they don't even give you good advice, they're still going to just recommend what they recommend to any other person that is not even in your tax bracket. Now, like I said before, I am not a financial expert. If you want a financial advisor because you're poor with money, go for it. But I'm telling you, if you want to have monumental success and you see yourself forgoing and having a luxurious lifestyle, you need to be more in control of your finances than another person, because at the end of the day, that other person does not know what's best for you or what your best interests are, because they don't live with you on a day-to-day basis and they don't know what you have in store in the future. That's just how I look at it. Now, for some people, a financial advisor makes the most sense because they don't want to deal with monitoring their money. But I know for me personally, that's something that I take all accountability for. And honestly, I don't really let anybody else control or dictate what I do with my money. Now, have I made poor financial choices in the past? No, but it has definitely molded me into the person I am today. And now I understand money a little bit better than I did before. Obviously, I had my moments where I would blow through money and it was a dumb idea, but at the end of the day, I put myself in uncomfortable situations so that I was able to figure out a way to make additional money to pay off my credit cards. Prime example, if I'm comfortable with spending $100 a month on my credit card just for like gas and maybe a little bit of food, I would bump it up to $200. So then I would figure out, what do I need to do to make that additional $100 to recoup that on the back end if I'm so used to spending $100 initially. So it would make me figure out different ways, whether I needed to learn a different skill, or it would just motivate me and push me to learn my skill and get better on my craft, so that when opportunities do arise, I get paid an adequate amount, so that additional $100 that I spend on my credit card to have a total of $200, it doesn't hurt me that much. So I definitely should say, they say don't lifestyle creep, but I think you should, but to a certain degree. Like, let's say if you make $100,000 a year, like, and you make, let's say you make around 10K a month, I would advise you, depending on what your means, circumstances, and debt is, spend like 5 or 6 of that like 1 or 2 months. And then it'll push you to be like, all right, well, I need to figure out a way to make more money. How am I going to make more money? Well, maybe I need to learn or provide more value to a company, or I need to figure out a high income skill that can be my quote unquote side hustle. So being able to figure out these ways, it gets you to think. That's the most important thing. It gets you to think and figure out a way to make additional income. When you're comfortable, you're not thinking of different ways to make more money because you're comfortable. You're cool with where you're at. That's why being stagnant and being comfortable is such a detriment, because you don't understand, if you're not growing, you're dying. And I know, and I can speak from experience, where when I stopped doing the reading, when I stopped doing X, Y, and Z that got me to the predicaments that I am in today, I felt like absolute shit, because I knew not only could I do more, but it was like, I'm just not getting better. I need a new challenge. I need something new. I need something that's going to push me. So that's why I did what I did. Now, I'm not recommending this to everybody, but to the people that can relate, I would say take my advice to a certain degree. You know yourself more than anyone else does. So if you're willing to bet on yourself, just do it, bro. It's just money at the end of the day. They print this shit every fucking day. You just have to figure out a way to get to it. Money's not even real, bro. It's a sheet of paper. The moment you rip that shit in half, it has no value. Take money off a pedestal. A lot of people have scarcity and limiting beliefs behind money, and that's why they're in the circumstances that they're in today. If they think money's hard to make, they can't make money, then their life is going to be a direct reflection of that. That's why the mind is so important. If you believe and you see these other people accomplishing the things that you would desire, bro, get around them, figure out what they're doing so that you can implement those habits today, so that in a year, in 6 months, a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, you start to see like, oh, like I once wished for a Rolex, or I once wished for that car. Now I have it because I was able to build those habits up to be able to become the person that could buy a car and spend $1,000 a month on a car payment. That's all this shit comes down to. I started to realize that life is nothing but a personal development journey, and you are the main character of your life. If you let somebody else dictate and control your life, you're going to live a life with somebody else, and you're going to look back on your deathbed thinking and knowing that you could have done way more than you anticipated. So that's what I would recommend to you guys. By any means, like I said before, it's not financial literacy. I'm not a financial advisor, but do take my advice if you do feel like you're in a circumstance where you can spend a little bit more money and you're willing to bet on yourself and figure out a way to make this shit happen for you. That's it for today. Make sure y'all like, comment, and follow below. Like, comment, and follow for more. But yeah, just always put your back against the wall and bet on yourself, because it's always going to be different challenges. And if you put your back against the wall and bet on yourself now, once those challenges and circumstances do arise, you'll be able to knock them out the fucking park and climb to that next level. Peace.